accepting living sacrifice. Present your body a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Hey, it's Pentecost today, and here in the Messiah Maranatha Christian Fellowship Church at 3:30 this afternoon, we are engaged in a Pentecost service here today at 3:30. We are located at 3610 North 15th Street in Philadelphia. That's 3610 North 15th Street here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Why don't you come and worship with us this afternoon at 3:30? And, hey, join us sometimes on the Lord's Day. That's the Lord's Day. That's the seventh day that God set aside. He blessed it. He set it aside. And he gave it to man and told man to keep it. But guess what? Man refused to do that. Man has forgotten it. But Jesus is coming soon. He really is. Keep it locked.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I'm excited about being in the presence.
Oh, glory to God. Our time is up now, but keep tuned into the station every Sunday morning at this time. And we've got some update and breaking news in God's Word that's going to just bring you to another dimension, going to bring you at the crossroads of life. Hey, Brother Jerry, we getting ready to go to another dimension here. So keep it locked right here on the WNJC 1360 on the AM dial. And we've got some important information we're going to pass on at the next broadcast. Keep looking up. Jesus is coming soon. We got to get out of here. Bye-bye.
In this house forever.
It's Philadelphia's Renaissance radio station, WNJC 1360 AM, Washington Township, Philadelphia. Broadcasting online, WNJCradio.com, a service of Forsyth Broadcasting. It's Philadelphia's Renaissance radio station, WNJC 1360 AM, Washington Township, Philadelphia. Broadcasting online, WNJCradio.com, a service of Forsyth Broadcasting.
Are you sick of the same old sports talk radio shows? Then tune in Sunday mornings from 11 to noon and listen to the Sports Skillet radio show. We cover a wide variety of sports topics and we'll have special guests and calls from our listeners. If you are over it, bored to death, and have had enough of the routine sports talk, tune in to Sports Skillet Radio Sundays from 11 to noon. Sports talk served up with hot sauce. And we are back live and better than ever with the Sports Skillet Radio Show. I am Jay.
I am Jeff.
And we got a lot of topics on the table today. We were down in Florida last week. We missed everybody. I want to congratulate my Aunt Trish and Uncle Charles on their 50th wedding anniversary. Was a great trip down to Florida. We had a fabulous time.
Oh, yes. It was a great time. We had a great dinner and Friday night, followed by the renewal of their wedding vows and a great lunch at an Italian restaurant. So, and a nice get-together in their hotel room on Saturday night. So, followed by a flight home on Sunday. So it was a fabulous weekend.
It absolutely was. And I want to give a shout out to the restaurant, Italian restaurant that we had the reception dinner at. The restaurant was Boca di Beppo down there, and the waitstaff was absolutely fabulous. Had a great time down there. As I said, the waitstaff was tremendous. Took pictures of the whole family, and it just made for an awesome experience down there.
Oh, absolutely. And the obviously we had Friday dinner at the
Jimmy Buffett's.
Jimmy Buffett's,
Margaritaville.
And, that was terrific. So just a tremendous atmosphere. We had a tremendous group with us to celebrate. So it was like I said, all credit goes obviously to our cousins who really set up a tremendous weekend and put it all together.
Yep.
And like I said, congratulations to my Aunt Trish and Uncle Charles on 50 years of marriage.
Yep. John, Terry, and Lisa Frattini absolutely did a fabulous job down there, putting everything together and making the whole event fabulous. And I can see our board Dino is a little jealous that we ate at Margaritaville.
I love Margaritaville, and I'm jealous you went to Florida without me.
Well, we tried, but we didn't want to take you away from.
No, you didn't want to pay for my ticket.
Well, that's it.
We could have fit you on the wing. I mean, you could have sat on the wing, on the way down.
Yeah, I don't think the FAA would like that.
No, not too.
We've been in a jail cell.
No, especially since you're a criminal justice major.
Exactly.
Good.
I would have lost my potential job.
So there you go.
I don't even have yet. I'm still in school.
So. I want to make sure everybody stays tuned. We have a great show lined up today. We have Miss Wheelchair America hopefully calling in around 11:30. And before that, we'll hopefully have Trenton Times and Eagles beat writer Mark Eckel calling in a few minutes to talk some football with us, talk some Eagles, and you want to make sure that you stay tuned to that. If you'd like to join in the conversation, feel free to give us a call. We can be reached at 856-232-7077 or 856-232-7078 if you want to join in. And we open it up to whatever team, whatever sport you want to talk about. It's absolutely on the table. I guess we can start off with a little bit of controversy that happened yesterday with the running of the Belmont. And there will not be a Triple Crown winner this year.
Shocker. They breed horses for speed now. They don't breed horses for distance anymore. And we'll have Mark Eckel on. Obviously, Mark, tends to like to talk about horse racing or write about horse racing. So we'll get his take on it. But as far as the comments made by the owner, and in case you haven't, or in case you didn't see the horse race or the Belmont, they did get a pretty good rating. But the comments made by the owner after the event were, to say the least, a pot shot, I think, at other owners, basically paraphrasing his words, saying that you either run your horse in all three races or you don't run your horse at all, meaning you don't take a race off and like the Preakness and then set up to go into the Belmont. I think that is completely a ludicrous statement. It basically shows how little he may know about horse racing in general, because since time immemorial you've had horses that have sat out, horses that haven't won in the Kentucky Derby have sat out and have waited to go into the Belmont. I mean, if you have a slower horse, it only makes sense that you're going to set out the Preakness, because it's a fast race. It's a short track, so you want your horse to be as prepared as he can be to try and win a Triple Crown race, and in this case, the Belmont. So the owners have every right to do and use their horses as they see fit. I just think it's a ludicrous statement to say, to say that the horses have to run in all three races, or they can't run at all. I think that's a little bit of sour grapes, after not winning the Belmont, and he finished fifth, so it wasn't like he lost out by a nose. So he wasn't the horse wasn't up to the challenge of running a mile and a half. You don't know that. You only run a horse once as far as mile and a half goes in their life. So, it's one of the, you don't know until you race the horse. So whether they can take the mile and a half, this horse couldn't take the mile and a half, and he got kind of in traffic, and then he had to take him to the outside. Once you take him to the outside, it becomes even a longer race, because now you're having to fight those horses that are near the rail, and that's exactly what happened to this to this horse. So like I said, he won 2 out of 3 races. He could have taken the high road, and but in this case, he decided to take a pot shot at these owners, and I think it was as classy a move as you can have for the winning owner to say no comment after the race. So.
I agree, and for anybody tuning in, like we said, if you wanted to see it, the interview, it's all over ESPN and all over the news, and it was the comments were made by California Chrome co-owner Steve Coburn, who is the most vocal person. He's the guy that you always see on TV talking about California Chrome. He's at the forefront, so he's the owner that you always see out in front of the cameras and everything. And basically, he went on, after California Chrome lost, he went on a bit of a tirade, and he was in an interview with Yahoo Sports saying that the other horses and the owners took according to him, quoting, they took the coward's way out. He said it's not fair to these horses that have been in the game since day one. If you don't make enough points to the Kentucky Derby, you shouldn't run in the other 2 races. It's all or nothing. That California Chrome had a target on its back, and
of course Chrome had a target on its back. He had won the first 2 races. Of course, you're going to have horses that are going to be gunning for California Chrome. That's the essence of the Belmont. If you're an all-time horse, if you're a Triple Crown winning horse, you go out there and you beat these horses. I'm sure Secretariat did not have any problem, going out there and stirring those other horses down and lapping the field by 20 lengths. I mean. That's the essence of the Belmont. That's the the saying goes, the Belmont is where Triple Crown hopes go to die anymore, and that's basically true.
And something that Coburn didn't bring up that I think I'll bring up at this point is Belmont also made an exception for California Chrome with the nasal strip, because heading into the race and the weeks prior, all that was brought up was the fact that the Belmont was the only horse race, the only track that didn't allow for nasal strips on the horses, and the nasal strips allow the horses to breathe a little bit easier. And there was a little bit of controversy heading into the race. Would Belmont make an exception? Would California Chrome be allowed to wear the nasal strips? And they did. Yeah. They went out, they made the exception for California Chrome. They said, you can wear the nasal strip.
Yeah.
And I didn't see Coburn bringing that up at all. The fact that, hey, Belmont made an exception for my horse to allow my horse to better compete in the race. He didn't bring that up at all. He just took a pot shot at all the other horses and all the other owners after the race, instead of being gracious and saying, hey, we tried, we ran a good race, we did our best, and we just came out short.
And let's not forget, this guy's going to make a boatload of money still. This horse is still going to go out, sire a lot of horses in the future. He's going to make a ton of money on this horse. This horse won 2 out of 3 Triple Crown races, so I don't feel sorry for this guy at all. Like I said, this guy's going to be a millionaire with this horse in the future, because it won 2 out of 3 legs of Triple Crown. So. It is, one of the all-time horses. It's just not one of the all-time horses in terms of winning the Triple Crown. But winning 2 out of 3 is not bad at all for any horse. So, but again, taking pot shots at owners, right after the thing. I mean, sometimes it's not a good idea to interview an owner right after their horse loses.
No, not at all. Not all. It has to be a frustrating experience, but we also have to give a lot of credit to the long shot tonalist for coming through and winning the race.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of people want to talk about that. They all want to get on the back of this owner or what he didn't do. But Totalist ran a good race. He was, and he just beat him, just beat out the other horse at the wire. But it was a great race between first and second there, but right at the wire. But you got to give credit to those two horses that they finished first and second. I mean, like I said, this horse finished fifth. This horse really could not take the mile and a half. So it's it's one of those things that goes on. So.
Yep. And Tonalist was the fifth wagering choice at 9-1 odds. It was fresh, rested.
It was a gunner. I mean, use it as a gunner. It was a gunner. It was out there, he was out there to try and take down California Chrome, and he did just that. So congratulations. He did it. There's nothing that horse has to apologize for. So.
Oh, not at all. He ran a good race, and even though he was the long shot, he did what he had to do and won the race and came through. Doesn't have to apologize at all. It's just you wish that California Chrome's owner would have been a little bit more gracious about losing the race and giving credit to the winning horse. And I see we have Mark Eckel on the line to talk some football. Again, if you'd like to...
some horse racing. How you doing, Mark?
Good, guys. How you doing?
Pretty good. How'd you like the race yesterday?
I didn't. No, I wanted to see history. I thought this might be a chance, although it's just so tough. And I agree with everything Coburn said. I mean, it isn't fair. It just isn't... back in the day when Secretariat and Seattle Slew and Affirmed won their Triple Crowns, they were running against the same horses. I mean, Secretariat beat Sham in all three races. Affirmed beat Aladar in all three races. If Aladar would have skipped the Preakness, he would have crushed Affirmed in the Belmont. So yeah, I don't like the fact that a horse that didn't qualify for the Derby was able to run in the Belmont and win.
Yeah.
But don't you think, Mark, that there's a sense that these horses, being what they are anymore, these guys are trying to win, a Triple Crown race, and if they feel like their horse has a better shot at distance rather than, let's say, a shorter track and
sure,
the
but
Preakness.
It's just not fair.
Right, it isn't fair, but then
and good for them. They're playing by the rules, but the rules need to be changed. I mean, it'd be like letting the Miami Heat get a bye to the finals and make San Antonio play for 3 rounds, and now you're playing a fresh Miami team that hasn't had to play anybody else. Right? I mean, that's pretty good.
What'd you think of the jockey and how he handled the?
I don't think
the race?
I'm not blaming Espinosa. He had the 2-hole. He horse. You knew. I didn't think he should have gone to the lead because nobody goes wire to wire in the Belmont. It's not like your Secretariat.
Right.
I mean, and there's nobody like him. So no, I didn't think. I mean, that what people are criticizing him for are the same things that they criticized Stuart Elliott because of what he did do with Smarty Jones 10 years ago. He took Smarty out to the lead, and everybody kept challenging him, and then Smarty finally ran out of gas. Well, that's what Espinosa didn't. Espinosa had his horse right where he wanted him at the top of the stretch. He had him outside, ready to make a move. And I'll be honest, when they're coming home, I see him on the eye. I said, he's got him. But the horse just didn't have anything left because he was tired. It's hard. I'm telling you guys, I like horse racing. It's hard to win 3 races in 5 weeks at Philly Park, or Parks, whatever they call it now. It's hard to do that. It's hard to win 3 races. I mean, I don't care if they're $20,000 claiming races. It's hard to win 3 times in 5 weeks. It just is. And when you're running a mile, and when the last one's a mile and a half, and you're going against horses that were freshed and prepped for that race, it's tough. I mean, California Chrome is still the best 3-year-old horse this year. There's no doubt in my mind.
Well, he's probably going to be horse. I don't think there's any question he'll be horse of the year. So.
Oh no, Palace Malice is going to be horse of the year.
Oh, okay.
I got you. Turning our attention to the Eagles for a little bit, Mark. How are the Eagles looking this year?
Well, I mean, they haven't done anything real yet, but I mean, I like the moves. I think most of the moves they made this offseason should help. I like picking up Malcolm Jenkins, the safety from New Orleans. Solidify and bring some leadership to the back end of the defense. I think that'll be that's a real big help. I think that was one of their biggest weaknesses, if not their biggest weakness. I think a year in Chip Kelly's system will certainly help. Even though they did pretty well last year in the first year, having a whole year on both offense and defense. Because, I mean, if we turn the clock back a year, I didn't think putting in a whole new offense, a whole new defense, and changing everything about the team. I was surprised that team won 10 games and made the playoffs last year. I mean, coming off a 4-12 season and making all those drastic changes, I thought it would take them a year. I thought like this year that they might be pretty good, but that last year it would be a learning process. And it was for half a season. They were 3-5 if you at the halfway point. And I thought, all right, they're 3-5 on the way to probably going 6-10, maybe 7-9. But they really it clicked at the halfway point of last year. They came home 7-1, and I think they'll be pretty good this year. I mean, again, a lot can happen between now and the start of the season, injury wise and things like that. But
yeah,
I think they're on the right track.
Yeah, we saw Jeremy Macklin go down last year before the season started. Do you have any sleepers do you think that we can keep an eye on heading into training camp?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to define a sleeper, but I mean, guys that will step up this year.
Yeah.
Well, Zach, I don't think he's a sleeper because I think everybody knows, but I think Zach Ertz, the tight end who they took in the second round last year, I think he's poised to have a pretty big year offensively. Defensively, let me see. I think Benny Logan has gotten better, second-year nose tackle. If you remember, it's when he went in last year, they traded Isaac Sopoaga and put Logan in as a starter, and that's not the only reason why they got better, but that's when the team did start playing better. So I expect him to take another step and have a pretty good year. A guy who I'm actually going to write about him this week, so I'll give you guys a little preview. I know that people in the organization like Najee Good, the backup linebacker who they got last year. He didn't play a whole lot. He played primarily on special teams last year, but there was two games that he did play a lot on defense, the Green Bay game and the Redskins game. And he played pretty well in both games. And he's going to be given a lot of looks at inside linebacker. I mean, Kendricks and Ryans are still going to be the starters, but I think Good's going to see some time, and I think he's going to be taking over for Ryans probably next year.
Nice.
What do you think of Foles this year, Mark?
I mean, after last year, it's hard to say anything bad about him, right? I'll be honest. I wasn't in Foles' camp. I didn't think he was the guy for this offense when Chip Kelly got hired. I wasn't telling people, oh yeah, Nick Foles is going to be the guy. I mean, I thought he was a bad fit. I didn't think he would, and that was my fault. I mean, I really didn't know all about Kelly's offense. I just knew what I saw when I watched Oregon play, and he certainly didn't look like,
he fit the mold. Yeah.
A typical Chip Kelly Oregon Duck quarterback. But my God, he had an unbelievable year. I mean, 27 touchdowns and two interceptions is. I mean, they're just numbers, but they're incredible numbers. I mean they're better than
that's better than Peyton Manning.
I mean, if he throws 29 touchdowns and 10 interceptions this year, that's still a great year, but it's going to look bad compared to what he did last year. So he may have raised the bar a little too high. But he's the guy. I mean he's a smart kid. He adapted well to the offense, and the quarterback is the least of the Eagles' worries right now.
A name I'll throw out at you, just because he's been mentioned a little bit. What's your opinion on Alejandro Villanueva?
Oh, I mean, he's a hero. I mean, it doesn't matter what he. I mean, the guy's I don't know if he's going to make any kind of an impact on it. I don't even know if he's going to make the roster, to be honest with you. But what can you say about a guy that served three tours of duty in Afghanistan? I mean, and you talk about guys, being great players or great things. I mean, this is a legitimate hero. I mean, he's just not a football player that gains a lot of yards or makes a lot of tackles. He's I love to see him make the roster. My gut feeling is because he's so raw and he hasn't played in so long, and so if he wants to, I would think a perfect spot for him would be to be on the practice squad this year, and just get back into football. Playing football again. I probably kind of think that might be their plans for him.
Gotcha. I was kind of thinking he might have an outside shot just because he has a lot of tools in the box. And Chip
he has the size and the strength and all that. It's just a matter that he hasn't played in so long, and he really hasn't played defensive end. He played it barely. I mean, he was a wide receiver in college.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think if start him off on the practice squad, he'll be with the team every day. Let him practice every day. And then maybe by the middle of the season, 2/3 through the season, if he's coming around and a guy gets hurt or a guy isn't playing so well, then you move him up.
What's your opinion on Murder Leg?
Not that good.
You don't think he has a shot, huh?
Great nickname, average, below average kicker. He's not beating out Henry. He's good at it, but let me preface it with this.
Sure.
I don't care who they brought in. They needed to bring some. Henry couldn't have a free ride in camp again. I thought that was the one mistake Kelly made last year. And again, he was new as a rookie. His first year as a coach. He really should have had some. I mean, I always think kickers and punters need some competition. It just makes them a little sharper. It makes them keeps them on the edge. Kickers. I mean, there's a fine line between being really good and then falling off that edge. We've seen it all. Time and time again throughout the league. So I like the fact that at least they have a guy in camp that makes Henry have to earn his job.
Gotcha. How do you feel the Eagles stack up within the division?
Oh, they're the best team in the division. I don't even think. I mean, I guess the Giants are second. I mean, I think the Redskins are a nightmare.
Really, even with the
so bad, and now they lose Sean Lee on top of losing Ware and Hatcher. I mean, Dallas isn't going to be able to stop anybody. The Giants, I mean, they rebuilt. They really turned the roster over this year more so than they've ever have. They let a bunch of guys go. They brought in a bunch of new guys. So I don't really have a handle on them yet. But I notice every time you count the Giants out, they usually bounce back with a pretty good year. But I think on paper, and again, you don't win games on paper, obviously.
Sure.
Just looking at rosters, I think the Eagles have the best roster in the division by far, really.
Even with the Redskins having a decent offense, I think it's going to be decent. Maybe not great.
Yeah, it'll be okay. It's no better than the Eagles' offense. And their defense is just atrocious.
That's true.
And RG3, I mean, how many games is he going to play before he gets hurt again?
Yeah, very true.
And they have a brand new coach. I mean, I don't like the Redskins at all. I think they're a nightmare. I really do. The owner's a mess. I mean, that's just a mess down there. I think they're. I'll put them fourth.
You still think, Mark, that my 49ers, and because I'm obviously a 49er fan, my 49ers in Seattle are still the class of the NFC?
Put Green Bay with them too now.
Really?
Really?
They're the top three teams. If Green Bay can stay healthy, I mean they're right there with. I mean Seattle. They're the best. Obviously, they're Super Bowl champs. They won in style, but it's so hard to repeat. It's just so hard. And something's going to happen. It just does. It happens all the time. I mean, it's been a long time since teams won back to back. And that division is so tough too. That's the problem with Seattle, San Francisco. Arizona's not bad, and St. Louis. That's a team you got to be. That could be everybody's. Upset pick this year because that's a good defense. I mean, if you want to talk about defense, the Rams, they're going to be really good. And if Bradford ever wakes up and becomes the quarterback that everybody thought he was going to be, that division top to bottom, I don't know if there's ever been one better.
What do you think of New Orleans?
Good team. I don't put them in the same category as San Fran, Seattle, Green Bay, but they're good. They're getting a little older.
Who do you like over in the AFC?
Indianapolis.
Really?
Yep. This is Andrew Luck's time.
Over the Broncos?
Yep. Super Bowl losers never go back. They don't.
Yeah,
Last one to do it was the Bills. They did it 4 years in a row, and then that stopped, and then no one's Super Bowl loser has never gone back to the Super Bowl.
Man, I guess you're not a big New England fan anymore.
Oh, no. Hey, never count out, never, ever count out Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. I mean, that's a big mistake to count them. They'll be in the mix. I just think I mean, again, it's what is this, June 7th?
Yeah.
Don't hold me to all this right now.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Fans haven't gone on yet.
They're improving. You know, they won a playoff game last year. They got blown out the next round, but I think they made some decent moves. I think Andrew Luck is the next great quarterback in the league if he stays healthy, and they put some people around him now. So I just think this could be. I think the Colts could, and they're in an easy division.
True.
So you're saying that
they could have home field throughout the playoffs.
So you're saying that Luck would be one of your top fantasy quarterbacks off the board?
I don't do fantasy, but yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, because people ask me about that, and like, because I don't play, like I'll say, yeah, this guy's real good, and they'll say, yeah, but he doesn't do this and this. I'm like, oh, that stuff counts. I don't know. I mean, I just know the guy wins games and he plays real well. So I guess if that's, I don't know. I don't know how. I never know how those points work in fantasy.
Gotcha. Any other questions for Mark, Jeff?
Come on, you're not going to ask me about Johnny Manziel?
Yeah, I was gonna just ask you about that. What is your first of all, what's your reaction to him signing by the Padres, being drafted by the Padres?
Oh, I don't that kind of, I don't know where that came from. He didn't even play baseball, did he? At A&M?
No, I don't think he did.
I mean, that's late in the draft in baseball when you draft 38 rounds or 40 rounds, whatever they go. I think the bottom of they just take names sometimes. But
what do you think about him in Cleveland, though? I
love him. I think he's going to be everything. Although, he's in Cleveland. The thing that bothers me is he's in Cleveland. Nothing good ever happens to people that go to Cleveland.
And who's he throwing to? I mean, you got a receiver suspended there. And
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. He gets there and he loses two receivers. The one gets suspended and one gets hurt. But I love Manziel. I'm really happy Dallas didn't take him.
Oh, I think if Dallas had taken him, that would have been a circus down there.
Yeah, but he would have been good. I'm telling you, he's going to be really good.
Yeah, it's interesting because Dallas obviously is having issues with their quarterback right now. I mean, you wonder how many years Romo has left right now.
I wouldn't think too many more, right? I mean, he's getting up there.
Plus the fact all the injuries and the back injuries, the surgeries, and all that.
That's why it kind of made sense. And when I'm watching the draft and he's still there, which I thought was kind of ridiculous for him to still be there. I really thought Dallas was going to pull the trigger. I mean, when he was still there, when the Eagles were on the clock, I was getting all kind of texts and whatever, saying, what are they going to do? I mean, I know Kelly likes him a lot, but the only way they would have been able to take Manziel is if they would have had a trade for Foles lined up immediately, to get a first-round pick back. But, I really didn't think that was going to happen. But I think he's going to be a good player. I really do. I think he'll be the best of the quarterbacks coming out this year.
Really?
Yeah. I don't like Bortles.
Not at all, huh?
Yeah, I think he'll be just an okay guy. I mean, I'm not going to say he's going to be a bust, but I think he'll be one of them guys that plays. He'll play in the league 8-9 years and have a good year every once and again, but nothing special. I really don't.
Quick question, since we do have some listeners up in New York. What did you think of the swap of the backup quarterbacks?
I think it helps both teams. First of all, Vic's going to start for the Jets, I think.
Well, not according to Mr. Vic, though.
Vic.
Well, he's just playing it. He's doing the right thing. He's being a team guy. He's being, he's saying all the right things, which what's he supposed to do. But
yeah.
When camp starts and it's an open competition, Mike Vick's going to beat out Geno Smith. I don't think there's any question about that. And I also think the Jets are going to be pretty good this year. I think if Vic can play, I mean, Vic's not going to play 16 games because he never plays 16 games. But if he plays 10 to 12 games, I like Decker. They got a decent tight end in the draft in Jason Morrow. If they can score, 20 points, I think that defense is good enough. I see the Jets. I think the Jets could be a playoff team this year. I really do. I mean, they almost made it last year and they didn't even play well.
That's true. I also thought the Eagles swapping backup quarterbacks. I think that could be a sneaky good maneuver for Chip Kelly this year.
Oh yeah. Getting back to the other side.
Okay.
Yeah, Sanchez is a fine backup. I mean, I've defended Sanchez for years. I mean, people want to rip him all the time, and I mean, the guy went to 2 AFC Championship games in 2 years. A lot of quarterbacks haven't done that, and the worst thing that they did, I mean, bringing Tebow in there was the worst possible thing that the Jets could have done. And the other thing was they when Sanchez had people around him, he was pretty good. When he had no receivers and the offensive line started to come apart, yeah, he wasn't very good, but not many quarterbacks would be. I mean,
Yeah, but
again, I don't think Sanchez is, a great quarterback, but I think he's a very good backup. Let's put it that way. And I think in Chip Kelly's system, he'll even be better. Because let's be honest, again, as good as Nick Foles was last year, I think a lot of the credit belongs to Chip Kelly for making Foles a good quarterback.
yeah, but Sanchez is a Sports Center favorite for his butt fumble. So
Well, yeah, that was a bad play. Didn't the jersey just sell for like a lot of money or something?
yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, I think the Eagles are quarterback-wise. The Eagles are pretty good. I mean, you have your young starter in Foles, a veteran, but not an old guy, but a veteran backup in Sanchez,
Yes.
and then a younger guy in Barkley as your number 3. That's kind of, when you draw it up, that's kind of what you want. I mean, it doesn't always work out that way, but that's the way to have a quarterback, competition or not.
It'll be interesting.
Quarterback room.
It'll be interesting to see how the wide receivers do, though.
Yeah, well, Macklin has to bounce back and have a good year. Cooper has to continue to play the way he did the second half of last year. And Jordan Matthews and Josh Huff, the 2 rookies, have to come in and play well. I mean, again, it's hard for a rookie to come in and make a major impact, but they have to at least play a role and do well. And then keep in mind, too, they throw the ball to the backs a lot. So, you got Shady McCoy, who's going to catch a bunch of balls. You got Darren Sproles now, who's going to catch a bunch of balls. And you got the tight ends. Ertz, like I said earlier, I think Zach Ertz is poised to have a pretty big year. And you still got Brent Selleck. So they have a lot of receiving options.
All right, definitely. Do you think the Eagles have a chance to maybe hang with the 49ers or Seahawks, this year?
To be honest, I mean, again, a lot can happen between now and September, like I said before. But right now, I still think they're a little. If I had to do the NFC in tiers, I would say that the top tier is still the Seattle, San Fran, and Green Bay.
Okay.
I think the Eagles are on that next tier with New Orleans, who you asked about. I think New Orleans and the Eagles are. I mean, it came down to the last play of the game last year, right? I mean, so I think they're pretty balanced. Those two, maybe throw Carolina in that mix.
Okay.
I'm trying to think who else might be in there. Maybe St. Louis if they make the moves, if they're as better as people think. So I think the Eagles are a playoff team, and I think they're in that next tier behind the top 3. But hey, when you play a game, anything can happen. And again, injuries always decide the outcome of games. I mean, right now San Fran's. I mean, how does they had 2 very good players get hurt in that NFC Championship game last year. Are they going to come back healthy? And how soon do they come back? And how healthy are they when they do come back? I'm talking about Bowman and the guard, Iapati, and that's 2 of their better players.
Yeah, but the 49ers have a lot of weapons on offense right now in terms of receivers. So
it's a long. I mean, once you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. That's the key, making the playoffs.
Yep, that's what I always say. Hey, Mark, I want to thank you for calling in today.
No problem, guys. Anytime.
Cool. We really appreciate it. And I want to advise everybody to check out your article every week, daily in the Trenton Times.
Yep. They're there. I'll have something tomorrow about the Triple Crown.
Awesome. We look forward to it, Mark. Thanks again for calling in.
Thanks,
No problem.
Mark.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye. And that was Trenton Times and Eagles beat writer Mark Eckel, who, again, we want to thank for calling in.
A lot of interesting notes by Mark. He brought up a couple of nice points about the Eagles and the fact that they are pretty much set at quarterback. So, and the fact that you never know. I mean, once you get into the playoffs, you never know what's going to happen. So, it should be a very interesting year for Chip Kelly. So. And like you said, they're right on that next tier down. So, that means that they're not quite that far away from being at the top. And that's not bad for a coach going into a second year. So.
Not at all. And especially when you have teams that right now are as good as San Francisco and Seattle just to be. And like Mark said, injuries can determine quite a bit. And he basically said they're not that far.
Sure.
A key injury here or there to San Francisco, and in a playoff game or something like that, the Eagles might be able to overtake them.
Interesting that he put Green Bay in that category, but I guess anytime you have that particular quarterback, you're going to be up there if you have Aaron Rodgers. So. That's just they're built around the quarterback. I mean, that's the way that team is. But they obviously have. I mean, their defense last year was not great against San Francisco. But hey, they really gave San Francisco a battle in the playoffs. So you really have to give Green Bay their due, and they're probably on that tier. I'll probably agree and put them on that tier along with Seattle and San Francisco. But he's also right in the fact that. You don't know how that division is going to bang each other around. That's an interesting point as well. That if St. Louis rises up and suddenly you have three teams like that, it becomes really a division that because they play each other twice, you could see a number of losses by those teams just simply because they're playing each other. So
absolutely. And as we say, we're always welcome to have people call in. You can reach us at 856-232-7077 or 856-232-7078. We want to also remind everybody down in Florida to check out the Brew House Gallery, located at 720 Park Avenue in Lake Park, Florida. They have a lot of special events going on this week coming up. There'll be a trivia night. They also have Miss Wheelchair America, Jenny Lynn Adams coming in, doing a book signing, inspirational talk on her anti-bullying campaign, and discussing how she became Miss Wheelchair America. Always something special going on at the Brew House Gallery. Definitely check it out. Go down there. Again, Miss Wheelchair America's appearance is going to be at 7 o'clock. On Thursday, June 12th. It'll be a tremendous talk. Go out, meet Ms. Wheelchair America, Jenny Lynn Adams. And as I say, there's always something special going on at the Brew House Gallery, 720 Park Avenue in Lake Park, Florida. Definitely go down there if you're in the if you're in the Lake Park, Florida area. Definitely make a stop there. Check it out. Great events going on down there all the time. It's a great place to grab a brew, have some coffee, relax. Great artwork down there by local artists and everything. Tremendous place. Again, that's the Brew House Gallery, 720 Park Avenue in Lake Park, Florida. Turning our attention to the Phillies for a bit.
Do we have to?
Unfortunately, they're still in the news. Not in a good way, though.
Our producer just had a little bit of a laugh, so yeah.
Yes. Not making the news that you would want them to make. Struggling, just going in the opposite direction that the Eagles are going in.
I think the Phillies want the number one pick in the draft. I think that's what they want here.
Well, they're
trying to pull a Sixer. I think they're trying to pull a Sixer. So Except the problem is they have too many veteran players that they can't trade. So unlike the Sixers, who got rid of a lot of talent and were able to jettison a lot, the Phillies are kind of stuck with Ryan Howard and Chase Utley and Jimmy Rollins unless they want to waive their no trade clauses. Along with Carlos Ruiz, who just signed. So
and that's one of the problems with the Phillies right now is their no trade clauses and. Just their veteran players and what they bring back in return. I mean, they have a few tradable parts. Marlon Byrd they could trade, probably get a decent prospect or two in return for Marlon Byrd. Jonathan Papelbon, surprisingly, people were down on him before the start of the season. He's pitched himself to the point where they might be able to get something for Papelbon. I believe Adams is injured right now.
Right, and they just called up the flamethrower that everybody's been wanting in Kenny Giles. So that should be interesting. At least that gives fans a little something to watch in the late innings as Giles comes up and we see what Giles has right now. Yeah, and he couldn't do Giles couldn't do any worse than any of the other pitchers they've been trotting out, from the bullpen. And at least it's something that is the start of maybe a youth movement for the Phillies, which is what everybody's kind of clamoring for right now, is for the Phillies to go with that youth movement. They brought up Ethan Martin, who I think is going to be a good bullpen pitcher. Now you got Giles up there, I think is another decent bullpen piece. Adams, Papelbon. So I think their bullpen could start turning around. But again, it's just consistency. And the one thing you probably like to do in the next month and a half is somehow try and get Cliff Lee healthy enough to where you can get where you can trade him. To the point where he has some tradable value at this point. There are teams that would clamor, I think, for Cliff Lee if he's healthy. Obviously, right now he hasn't thrown a baseball, he hasn't even picked up a baseball, so you're still talking about 3.5, 4 weeks. So we're talking about early July here, probably before Cliff Lee can get back on the mound. And the Phillies obviously would like to see that, if for no other reason than to showcase him at this point and maybe find a taker for Cliff Lee. So we'll see what happens on that front if they can somehow do that. Obviously, right now, it's kind of the worst situation possible in the fact that Cliff Lee is hurt. So at this point, hasn't even picked up a baseball. So you wonder, if he can, give the Phillies anything right now before the All-Star break.
Absolutely, and that's really what you want is for the Phillies to put together a bunch of tradable pieces. Right now, so that they could begin the youth movement. They can trade away some of the veterans, because obviously being 10 games under 500 is very doubtful that they're going to make the playoffs. And I know Ruben Amaro would probably point to the fact that hey, we're only 6-7 games out of a playoff spot, but realistically, looking at the team, you don't get the feeling that they're going to be able to put together a playoff push.
Well, the problem is they can't put a winning streak together, because you look at their rotation and 3 out of their 5 starters. It's just not a team built right now to put and they need a winning streak right now. I mean, they're not capable of doing it. They might win 1, 2, maybe 3 in a row if they're lucky, but they just can't seem to put a winning streak. They just don't seem to be a team that's going to put together a 7, 8, 9 game type winning streak to get them back into the race. So it's going to be a real challenge. Again, I know there are a lot of fans who blame Ruben Amaro obviously for this, for where they are, and there's very much a sense of that. We know that there was a certain hitter on Oakland who had some comments, Jay, about the Phillies organization.
Absolutely. If you'd like to go a little bit more in depth on that.
Well, it was. I'm trying to refresh my memory as to his name. Outfielder on Oakland.
Moss.
Moss. And basically, what he was saying, to paraphrase, is the fact that he was brought up for a couple of games. He would have re-signed with the Phillies organization. For those who don't know, he would have re-signed with the Phillies organization as a minor leaguer, but they didn't afford him the time with the big league club, so he opted as a minor league free agent to go sign over with Oakland, and now he's hitting a whole bunch of home runs for the Oakland A's, and he would have looked pretty good in the Philly outfield right about now, but. The fact is, like you said, he would have signed her, and that's a statement on Ruben Amaro that they just don't really have a good handle. That's just one example of the fact that Ruben Amaro doesn't seem to have a good handle on the minor league talent that this team has. They just don't have. He just doesn't seem to be able to. He's moving these parts around. He's moving the parts around in the bullpen. He's moving the parts around in terms of bringing guys up, bringing this guy up, bringing that guy up. But he just doesn't seem to have a good handle on player development and that kind of thing. And that kills an organization when you don't have that. So that's a real issue with this team and of Ruben Amaro, and that's an indictment on him. Is the fact that there is this kind of gap that's beginning to form. And like I said, they haven't really brought up a lot. Dominic Brown, they're trying to force right now and into the lineup and try and do those things. So in terms of the fact that he is, a Philly product, and they're trying to give him as much of an opportunity as they can. But I think we all know that he had 1.5 good months, rode it into the All-Star game, but, he hasn't really done a whole lot recently. So, you do the best. Right now, it's an issue for them. So it's an issue for Ruben Amaro. It's an issue for the Phillies. There are many issues for this team in general, but I think player development and how they've gone about developing their players in the minor leagues is just an indictment of Ruben Amaro and this organization. So
I couldn't agree more. Again, if you want to join the conversation, feel free to give us a call, 856-232-7077, 856-232-7078. Again, want to let everybody know about the Brewhouse Gallery down in Lake Park, Florida, located 720 Park Avenue. Ms. Wheelchair America, Jenny Lynn Adams, will be making an appearance Thursday, June 12th at 7 o'clock. Definitely check that out. She'll be doing a book signing, doing an interpretive dance. It'll be a tremendous, tremendous event. There's always something going on at the Brewhouse Gallery. Definitely make it a point to check it out. Stop by there if you're in or around the Lake Park vicinity. Absolutely check out Brewhouse Gallery. It's a tremendous place featuring a lot of local artists, a lot of local artwork. Tremendous place down there. Check it out. Again, it's the Brewhouse Gallery located 720 Park Avenue in Lake Park, Florida. If you'd like to give them a call, feel free. 561-469-8930. Definitely, if you're in the Lake Park, Florida area, check it out. You will not be disappointed. Turning our attention real quick to the incident surrounding the NBA playoffs with the Heat issue.
LeCramp.
Yes. Again, there was some controversy going on there. I actually think that whenever you take, for anybody who don't know, LeBron James went out with cramps, and that enabled the Spurs to get a win over the Miami Heat in the game. And I don't blame LeBron James for going out. Cramping is a difficult thing to overcome, and again, it's very difficult to overcome, and I don't blame LeBron James for going out. I really don't. And whenever you take a player of his caliber out of a game, it's going to affect the outcome. I don't care, what anybody says. Whenever you have a superstar athlete, you take him off. It could be football, it could be baseball. Whenever you take an athlete of the superstar caliber out of the game, it's going to affect the outcome. That's the way regardless of why he's coming out, if he's injured or cramping or if he has the flu, I don't care. You take an athlete like that out of the game, it's going to affect the outcome, and it did.
Look, I'm not a big LeBron fan. I'll root for the Spurs in this series. Just because I like, what the Spurs have done, over their last many years. They have a great player in Tim Duncan. Who's the most underrated player, one of the most underrated players in sports. It's ridiculous. There were a couple of conspiracy theories here that have gone out. First of all, the Spurs are not interested in playing in a 90-degree building and turning off the air conditioning and playing in a 90-degree building when they got older players like Tim Duncan and so forth. So that does it. So I'll throw that away right now. That's ridiculous. And the fact that comparing the cramping to Michael Jordan's flu game is totally different. I mean, you simply cannot move when you have cramps. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's a fact of life. You can't you can't operate. You don't have your wheels. The flu is kind of different. You can manage it. You can push your body through it. Neither one is great, but you can sort of put your body through it. You can't put your body through it when you have cramps. You're dehydrated. You just your body locks up. There's nothing you can do about it. So I think those two conspiracy theories are kind of nuts. And like I said, I'm not really a Heat fan. But I'll give LeBron James his credit, and he came back a couple of times in the game and tried to give it a go, but it didn't work out for him. And look, it's game one, and I'm sure the Heat will, it's going to be a long series. And like I said, it's the Spurs are a very good team. They know what they're doing. They have a lot of talent on that team, and it's going to be a long series. But the controversy over LeBron James and cramping and that kind of thing, I just think that it's LeBron James. Anything that LeBron James does brings a big old target onto his back because he's LeBron James. So it's kind of the way it goes for him. So.
Yeah, very true. Just in the final couple of minutes, again, want to remind everybody to, if you're in the Lake Park area, check out the Brewhouse Gallery. Like I said, it's a tremendous place located 720 Park Avenue. You can give them a call, 561-469-8930. Tremendous place. They're going to have Miss Wheelchair America appearing Thursday, June 12th at 7 o'clock. Again, she's going to be signing copies of her book and doing an interpretive dance. Definitely check out her appearance. But they also have several other events going on that you don't want to miss. Trivia night, and it's just a tremendous place to see local artwork on display. Definitely, if you're in the Lake Park area, check out the Brewhouse Gallery, 720 Park Avenue. You can give them a call, 561-469-8930. Tremendous place. Stop by the Brewhouse Gallery whenever you get a chance. Make sure you stop in and take a look, and it's a just tremendous place. Hang out there, have a cup of coffee, relax.
It's really not that far from Fort Lauderdale, so yeah.
Very true. So if you're headed to Fort Lauderdale, stop off there and have some coffee or just relax, have a brew, and check out all the tremendous events that they have going on there. Just in the final moments of the show, I guess we should touch on some pro wrestling. We had the tremendous angle going on this week with the Shield and Evolution. Seth Rollins changing sides. It's now Triple H, Seth Rollins, and Randy Orton comprising Evolution. Batista quits. And now we're down to just 2 members of the Shield. So we'll have to tune in tomorrow and find out the Shield's response. What did you think of the angle, Jeff?
It's the Shield is just terrific, aren't they? I mean, they're just they need these guys badly right now. But they're tremendous TV. They've got a lot of talent, and it's to me it's a very good. Obviously, Batista, I think he's going to make a movie or something. He just made a movie, I do believe, that's coming out. So, a comic movie, I believe, or something like that. So, Batista's obviously maybe going back to Hollywood or doing something there. So he has his eye. So Batista has his eye over there. So, but it's an interesting thing to rework this kind of thing, to move the chairs around, so to speak, and give, and rework Evolution, and get this thing kind of change things up and try to see what the fan reaction is. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's a good idea in general, and we'll see how the fans kind of take to this kind of thing.
Yeah, according to a poll that's been out, it's kind of running very close to 50-50 as to people who liked and people who wanted the Shield to kind of remain intact for a while longer.
I can see the value on both sides. There's value on both sides of it, but hey, they're giving it a shot. We'll see what happens. We'll see how. We'll see. I mean, like I said, it's an interesting dynamic, if you will, right now.
It really is. And I can see we're just about out of time. I want to thank Mark Eckel for calling in and providing us with a lot of terrific football information and some good Eagles talk. Again, make sure you check out Mark's column every day in the Trenton Times. He's definitely an excellent read. He gave us a little bit of a scoop on our show, so make sure you check out Mark Eckel's column in the Trenton Times. We want to again remind everybody about going to the Brewhouse Gallery, Ms. Wheelchair America, this Thursday, June 12th at 7 o'clock. Jeff, we look forward to hearing everybody again next week.
Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Hey.
It's Philadelphia's Renaissance radio station, WNJC 1360 AM, Washington Township, Philadelphia. Broadcasting online at WNJCradio.com, a service of Forsyth Broadcasting.
Come into my life, a quality